Hi guys, welcome to the DxO PhotoLab 7 series. In this video we're going to look at the PhotoLibrary module. Now there's a couple of things I want to say up front. The first is that any PhotoLibrary system is there for your convenience. The whole point is to come up with a system that's easy to use, simple and repeatable. And to that end, the DxO PhotoLibrary simply mirrors your file system. So you need to do a little bit of thought about how your file system looks in order to make this easy to use. The second part of it is metadata, and here you need to think about searching for your pictures. So imagine a scenario 3 years down the line, you've got 20 portable drives full of pictures and somebody asks you to pull out that picture you took at the fair 4 years ago. You're going to know what disc it was on. You're probably going to be able to more or less get it from the date sequence. So was it August, was it July, you're not quite sure, builds it down to a couple of directories. But you're going to need to be able to search for specific items to pull those individual pictures out, rather than browsing through a screen full of thousands of pictures. And metadata is all about search at this level. So when you choose your metadata, choose it well, make it simple, make it easy to use and memorable, and remember to identify those pictures properly. The second half of this video, I'm going to demonstrate the integration with Adobe Lightroom. So throw up your hands in horror now. It's Adobe. Don't worry about it. Loads of people use Adobe. The truth of it is, PhotoLab is probably a better RAW processor, and this is the reason that people use Adobe Lightroom. So you manage your pictures in Lightroom. It's got a very sophisticated image management module, and you can round trip your pictures back into PhotoLab and back to Lightroom for processing. Let's get on with it. Looking at the Folders tab here, we can see that what we're looking at is an exact representation of the file system. So I've gone to the Extreme Pro portable disk on which I keep all of the files that are to do with this project. I've got 2 days camera cards on this, and I'm looking at the 29th of the 9th. And I'm going to take you through my workflow for sorting pictures first of all. So what I will typically do is I'll scan the images and isolate all the ones that are, in my view, unworkable. So these would be typically images like this that are badly exposed for one reason or another. So I will right-click on that, or two-finger click on Mac. I'll set a tag that says rejected. And I'll move through the entire list. So let's do a couple of good ones as well. So we're going to pick this one for further work. We're going to pick that one for further work. Actually, we're going to pick these. This one for further work. That one's slightly different, so I'll take that one as well. This one. So you get the idea. Basically, we're going through the whole lot with a view to pulling out the pictures that I want to keep for further work. And then my next pass is I'll go into this filter and I'll choose picked images, and that immediately reduces it down to these images. They all have the green light set, and you can see the sense in this. What I'm trying to get to is to reduce the pictures all the way through this part of the workflow until I've got very few pictures that I want to work on. Then it's very easy to see which those pictures are. So let's take this one as being a an example of one that I'd like to keep. You'll notice if I hover on the picture, you're going to get a quick flash glimpse of the metadata, and you'll see at the bottom of there you've got the optics modules registered. But the next phase of this is that I'll probably want to assign a color label. Now, what I assign color labels for, I use a traffic light system, red, orange and green, to further underline the order in which I'm going to process these pictures. So green is for the ones that straight out the gate look as though they're ready for processing. So we'll set this one to green. That one, I think this one, I'm going to look to see a bit more detail on that. And the way that I can do that is here. And straight away, I can see there's a little figure here. And that's a big plus. So I couldn't see that in the preview, but I can see it here. So I'm going to assign that a green label as well. Okay, and just close this up again. And let's take these pictures on. Now, looking again at this one with the little figure, I can see potential for a very impactful picture here. So I'm going to rate that one 5 stars. And this one, probably less impactful, so I'm going to rate that one, rating, 3 stars. Now, again, I use the same thing here. I think these 5, 6 categories is way too many. And for me, I like to go with 3 always. It simplifies my life a great deal. So I'm going to do either 5 or 3 or 1. So 5 stars denotes ready for off. 3 stars denotes let's have a closer look at this. 1 star denotes not sure about this one at all. I may downgrade it later. But this one I'm going to give 5 stars. Okay, so from here I really want to look at the metadata. Now, this metadata here is EXIF data, and this is imported straight from the camera. It's applied to the raw file and travels straight through any processing software that I happen to have. So it tells me the size of the picture, type of lens, type of camera, ISO, exposure, aperture rather, and exposure here. Exposure compensation and actual focal length. And some other data down here, raw, manual mode, etc., etc. You can work with that. So the IPTC categories define not the technical data, but the descriptive data and the administrative data. So contact data falls into the realm of administrative. I can put my website in here. Okay, you get the picture. I can add an email here. And this is all about anyone finding this picture in a picture library or whatever, wanting to look at the metadata and see how they can contact me. Content, this is this is a very subjective category. I tend to use this category, the image category, for this. So I'll put country, I'll put state, city if it's applicable, location is the general area, and the scene is a description of the actual scene. I don't tend to use the intellectual genre here. I can use copyright notice comes in with the EXIF data, but if it doesn't for whatever reason, I can add it here. Rights usage terms, I sell my images very simplistically through my website or through image libraries, so I don't assign rights usage terms at this level. And keywords, this is all about search, and what I'm going to add here is a couple of keywords. So I can add Picos de Europa. Okay, and that immediately comes up in the highlight list. I can add these are duplicates, in fact, of IPTC data. So let's add something that's a little bit different. Let's add, high contrast, and perhaps mountains in here. Okay, so this is really all about search. So I will build up over a period of time a vast catalogue of several thousand, probably tens of thousands of images a year. Out of those, there probably will come down to maybe 500 to 1,000 images that I'll assign keepers to for whatever reason. Now, the beauty of this is that 2 years down the line, I can come back and I can go, I know I shot some pictures in the Picos. Let's have a look at those. So in my search here, the term Picos turns up 4 times in the IPTC data, and it turns up 12 times as a keyword in various guises. Let's have a look at Asturias. Okay, so these 3 images all contain the keyword Asturias. So that basically describes how we use our metadata, and it describes a simple workflow. So remember that this is all about making life easier for you. This is not about, we're assuming here that you're working not at corporate level, but at individual level, and this is about making your life easier. The next thing I'm going to do, and this will be a hard cut in the video, is to demonstrate to you how I move from Lightroom through to PhotoLab and back again. So it'll be the round tripping from Lightroom. Okay, so before we do that, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, that would be fantastic. If you'd like to like this video, that would be fantastic as well. And do feel free to comment. I try to answer all the comments. I'm going to demonstrate here the integration between DxO PhotoLab 7 and Adobe Lightroom. Now, the way that I tend to work is that I keep my photo libraries in Adobe Lightroom. There's no point in having libraries managed by 2 separate softwares. I've been using Lightroom for a very, very long time. However, I do think that PhotoLab is a slightly better raw processor. So I tend to do most of my basic raw processing in PhotoLab, which involves a round trip from Lightroom out to PhotoLab, do the processing there, and bring the photograph back into Lightroom for further work. I may go to Photoshop, I may need to do some stitching if I'm making a panorama, whatever it happens to be. So let's have a look, and I'll demonstrate this in real time, just how quickly this works. So I take this photograph, highlight that, go to the File menu, go to Plugin Extras. I choose the latest version of PhotoLab, and I export that into PhotoLab. Took maybe a second, top whack. So the first thing to point out is it assigns a new project to your export. So I could have highlighted 20 pictures and exported them as the Picos de Europa project. So I would rename, it defaults to Lightroom, so I would typically rename this, and I will do Lone tree because there's only one picture in it and it is of a tree. So what I'm going to do is some very, very quick basic workflow here. And let's open this up in the Customize module and do a very quick pass over this. I may take some shortcuts here, however. So looking at this, what needs to happen is I need to separate the tree from the background. This is, at the moment, the tree is kind of blending in with the background. I've got a little bit of foreground that's sort of mildly interesting to draw my eye into the picture, but I can certainly do with some separation here. And what I'm going to do is start off in the light module. I think my lighting is okay, the exposure is good. I look here, I've got no blown highlights, no crushed blacks. And I switch on clear view, and I'm going to take that down to about 15. Okay, so we're beginning to see now the tree is beginning to break away from the background, and really what I need to make that happen is light on the tree and perhaps a little more darkness on this part of the background. So there's a number of ways that I can achieve that. Amongst them will be adding a bit more contrast and highlighting here. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll cut straight to the chase. We'll do a quick local adjustment here, and I'm going to use a brush to select this. So we'll go over here. Now the auto brush does a reasonably good job of selecting an entire tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the exposure slightly around that brush. Let's just wait and see. Oops, way too much. Perhaps darken those shadows a bit. Yeah. Midtones I'll keep up. So this is all being applied as a selective arrangement. Okay, and I'm going to leave this here because I've basically achieved what I set out to achieve. Actually, you know, it's virtually impossible for me to leave anything alone for very long, so I can't really go with this. I'm just going to warm this up a little bit. Okay, and let's actually walk away from it now. So, quick compare. That's how it was before, that's how it is now. So the main objective was to isolate this tree, and I think we've done a reasonable job of that. However, let's take it back into Lightroom. So go back to my photo library. I can do this from the menu as well, by the way. But we've got this picture highlighted, and we'll export it to Lightroom. Okay, so I hit the export button. I choose the version of Lightroom that's on my hard disk. I'm going to export it as a TIFF. My options here, I can export it as DNG, all corrections applied. I can export it as a DNG simply with denoise and optical corrections only, or I can export it without processing. Now, but what I'm doing is basically round trip. So let's try exporting it as a DNG with corrections. I don't want the watermark on it, I want the metadata, so let's just hit that. And if we look down here, you'll see the processing. This will take a couple of minutes, so I'll cut this in the actual video. Okay, so here we are back in Lightroom. Here's the picture. We can see that this is now a DNG file. And here it is. So literally 2 buttons to press. A little bit of a wait for the export, but you can see that very quick pass through the processing workflow, all those changes have been kept. Our tree has now got better separation from the background, and really that's it. That's the round-trip demo. So very good integration with Lightroom. We love this. And see you in the next video.